Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. Please brush your hair before you do the show as well, because mine looks frankly horrendous, doesn't it? I'll have a bath after I do this. Welcome everybody along. Let me know if you can see me and hear me loudly and clearly. We are going to be looking at the Championship round 25. It's flying by, isn't it? We're going to be coming up to 20 games to go territory very, very soon. So it's another midweek round. We've got games tonight. We've got games tomorrow as well, staggered through the times as well from 6 o'clock through to the 7:45 kickoffs. We are going to try and, as ever, predict what the hell is going to go on in these games. That on the ticker is the running order. As ever, we will go from top down to bottom. And I need your help. I need your predictions down there. Before we get to the action, let's say a big thank you to our fan sponsor for the Championship preview show all season, which is and will continue to be and has been the Donovan brothers, in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovan brothers, respecting the memory of their dear brother Michael, a man of fine taste who used to watch the show, who is no longer with us. If you too want to go and get involved in sponsorship and supporting the channel, etc., you can subscribe via Patreon, receive regular Patreon-only exclusive content post-stream. I'll jump right on Patreon after this and do this in an abridged way with all of your ideas and pass them off as my own, no doubt. As ever, if you're on YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. But most importantly, comment your predictions, and as ever, you can super chat at any point in the broadcast, and the first person every live stream to super chat becomes the king of the bin. And if we need to use the fake news sin bin, they will own the sponsorship for the duration of the show. Let's get the running order back up. Now I've done all my pluggery, and we will have a look at this. Why have I not got SofaScore up in the background? Deary me. So disorganized today. Right, let me hit share screen, and hopefully the right thing will come up. And there are our fixtures for round 25. Derby versus Bournemouth, Reading, Coventry, Blackburn, Swansea is gone to the weather. Sheffield Wednesday, Wickham is gone to COVID. Rotherham, Stoke, Watford, Barnsley, where I will be tonight. There, live and in Technicolor. So for the inevitable question, which game am I covering tonight? There will be no streaming tonight because I will be at Watford and Barnsley. But there will be, of course, a match experience, a behind doors match experience, and I have just witnessed video from that game. Tomorrow night, Norwich, Bristol City, Brentford, Luton, Cardiff, QPR, Huddersfield, Millwall, Forest Borough, and Birmingham versus Preston. Let's just go and say hello to everybody in the comments, to James, to Carl, to Matthew, to Chris, Mr. Ian, Honeygun, and Joel, and Jeff. I'm only Jeffrey when I'm in trouble. It's the only time I'm Benjamin as well. Dasher, Sean, Irene, Hip, Russ, Nasher, Jamie, and QPR forever. Plenty of people in here. Plenty of good minds in there. I know most of you lot. Let's say hi to Blur Boy as well over in Florida, where hopefully it's a little bit nicer than it is here in Bedfordshire. That's me looking up at the window, by the way. It's hammering it down. I will wear my thermals on the way down the M1 to Watford tonight. Let's start off with Norwich versus Bristol City. Norwich are our league leaders, and dare I say, it's becoming somewhat of a procession for the Canaries, who are now 8 points. 8 clear in the automatic positions there. Bournemouth with that defeat. Well, if you look, Norwich have taken 5 points out of Bournemouth in the last 2 rounds, and Brentford haven't played either of them. So that 8-point gap has opened up over the last 2 games. They look fully fit. Their squad looks amazing. We're expecting Greek left back to come in on an obligation to buy loan deal. You just can see them not riding off into the sunset. That's the wrong cliche to use. By the way, get your predictions in. Bristol City's visit to Norwich, home, away, or draw. But you can just see Norwich. Frankly, they've ridden up to the top of the hill. They can probably freewheel their way down if they can just keep up reasonable form. What have they got? 50 points already. 22 games to go. 1.5 points per game would be another. Can anyone add that up really quickly? Another sort of 37, wouldn't it? Would that be about right? 1.5, and they're up, aren't they? So they've put themselves in a very strong position. Bristol City, I went really high then, didn't I? Bristol City got a decent win at the weekend, didn't they? Broke the hoodoo against Preston, for those of you who believe in that sort of thing. I think 10 years without beating Preston, and they're on 36 points. But that little gap, I say little, 4 points, has opened up now between Reading and then Borough Stoke and Bristol City, just chasing those playoff positions. Couple of little tweaks for Bristol City where Mawson has got fit and come back in. Palmer has come back from his loan spell as well. And Jeju's getting goals off the bench. Let's look at the recent form for both. Norwich, well, imperious at the moment. That is 7 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat in the last 9. And I mean, the 1 defeat was an away game to Watford. And, you know, they've put themselves in a position where they can afford to ship a few points, providing they keep winning the tight games, which they do. Look, all of those victories, other than the Cardiff one, by the 1 goal. But that's not luck, is it? It's probably good game management and just being better than the others. Bristol City, well, stripey, isn't it? No draws in there, 4 defeats and 3 victories. Let's just bring up the away form for Bristol City. Look at that, 3 straight defeats with the double postponement of Brentford, and Norwich's home form is 13 points in the last 5 games. So with all of that being said, I'm going to do a blind prediction and not look at your comments, and an easy, straightforward, predictable home win in this one. One slight, tiny mitigating factor is that Teemu Pukki didn't play the last game, but they've got Jordan Hugill, and they've got Buendia and Campbell and Dowell and Hernandez and Blachetta and Vrancic and Martin and whoever else to play off the front. So they're not going to be short of players to get goals. Norwich, let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. I did survive Storm Vladimir. I did get the glare, though, last time at Watford. Russ says 1-1 if Pukki not fit. Matthew 2-1, 2-0 Norwich, 1-0 home, 1-1. Anybody predicting a Bristol City victory here? I don't think there is. We're all bunking on Norwich here. Jeffrey says, I'll take a low score. Sorry, Jeff takes a low scoring loss, but you never know. Hope Springs said, there you go. Joe's got one. Aren't you a Norwich fan, Joe? What are you predicting Bristol City win for? I hope this is where we see the return of Onel Hernandez. He's got his work cut out now, Hernandez, hasn't he? I think there may be there may be a seat on the bench for him going forward for Norwich. But like our commenters have said, he does add something extra to that attack. I don't think even he knows what he adds to that attack, but he does. Right. let's move on. I've gone home win. And we can do the next one very, very quickly because it's Blackburn versus Swansea. And it has been postponed. A waterlogged pitch up at Blackburn. I mean, I'll bring the league table up so you can see what effect it's going to have. I don't know where anybody else is in the UK. I'm a long way away from Blackburn, but it poured with rain all last night. It's pouring with rain now. It's been very windy. So I think there's a few pitches. I mean, that Barnsley game we covered the other night against Swansea, the pitch was vaguely, barely playable, wasn't it? And both teams just went direct to miss the pitch out, essentially, which is ludicrous. So Blackburn not able to get that game on. Swansea would probably have already been up there, wouldn't they? I wouldn't have thought they would have done an on-the-day travel, even in COVID times, all the way up to Blackburn. But it's off, so it's a chance for Bournemouth and Brentford and not Watford. Sorry. No, it's not a chance for either of them. It's a chance for them to catch up, but not overtake Swansea, who've put a 4-point gap in there. For Blackburn, they could, however, be passed by Luton, Preston and Huddersfield. So they could drop into the bottom half via not playing. Let's move on. The next one is Derby versus Bournemouth. Get your predictions in for Derby versus Bournemouth in the comments. Both sides lost at the weekend in slightly differing circumstances. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Jefferson Lerma's red card was indeed... Sorry, the ban for Jefferson Lerma's red card for Bournemouth was indeed overturned, as we suspected it might be. And Bournemouth, really, they're unlucky in that instance, aren't they? Because he was sent off after 26 minutes, I believe that's the number. And they went on to lose at home to Luton. They're not in the greatest of form, are they, Bournemouth? I can't do a form table on SofaScore, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist to quickly add up 5 points from 5 games, which is, we normally say, survival form, isn't it? A point per game is our sort of standard ratio. So bit of a drop off for Bournemouth, and they go away to Derby. Difficult old start this for Rooney now, having lost that game at home to Rotherham at the weekend. That was one where if you stacked up these 2 games and you said, right, we'll take 3 points, we'll beat the close rival and we'll lose to the team miles ahead of us in the table. If you're a Derby fan, you probably would have taken the 3 points. And look, all of a sudden you're on 22 and Rotherham are on 16, and flip it round the other way. And we have what we have. And Derby are in 23rd. Get your predictions in. This one is on Sky Sports. So hopefully, in fact, let me put the shout out. I'm going to be travelling down to Watford, obviously, aren't I? So if you guys can keep me in touch at half-time or full-time with your, just DM me on Twitter or Instagram with your thoughts on the game. Derby, 3 defeats in 4, despite the sense of picking up prior to that. I gave them a pass in the Preston game because they played with 10 men for so long, but we can't give them a pass in 2 defeats against direct rivals in Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday. And you don't need me to tell you, Derby's home record is abject. Going back to last season, I believe it's 1 win in 15. I'll only be a game or 2 out with that, but I think it's absolutely hopeless, their home record. So, and there's Bournemouth, just unconvincing, particularly over those last 5 games. Although if you look before those last 5 games, it's 7 points, 3 clean sheets, 6 goals, and not losing away at Swansea. So, yeah, there's always the sense that they can come back and put some points on the board. I'm not going to go blind on this one. I will read your predictions first and see what you guys are saying. What have we got here? Excuse me. There we go. Right, still no takeover Derby, says Andy. I'm refusing to talk about it now until it happens. So that's all I'll say about that. Although, Andy, you'd know better than me what's going on there. Journeyman says 2-1 Swans. You'll be lucky if the game's not happening. Where are we? Derby and Bournemouth. There we go. 2-1 Bournemouth. And here, 3-1 Bournemouth. 2-1 Bournemouth, says MJ, a Derby fan. 3-2 Derby. I'll say no more. Derby to lose last minute. 2-0 Bournemouth, 2-2, 4-1 Bournemouth. I'm lovely, Oliver. 2-0 Bournemouth, 3-1 Bournemouth away, 2-1 Bournemouth, 2-0 Cherries. Andy says we drew at Bournemouth. Unlucky not to win. Can't see us getting anything in this one. 2-0 Bournemouth. Lewis says Derby unbeaten against all of the top 4 teams. Only conceded. Catch them on the break. 1-0 Derby. There you go. Wouldn't be surprised if it's postponed, but if not, I'll go one way. Are we talking rain there? Joe says, I'm the only one to predict a Derby win. Or Joe, was it a Bournemouth defeat you were after rather than a Derby winner? 4-1 here. Jeff says 2-1 Derby, 3-1 Bournemouth, 3-1 Bournemouth. Christ, really pleased to see all the comments coming in. I can't keep up. There we go. The current top 4. We did have that one, Ridley, earlier. 1-0 Bournemouth. Bang, bang, bang. Sorry, Derby fans. Let's go for a tight Bournemouth win. It might be one of those games where it's not necessarily pattern of play that wins it, but sometimes players just win your games, doesn't it? And in a tight game, sometimes the team just wins you. Not necessarily the better organised or the better pattern of play, but. I'll go for Bournemouth then. Right, let's move on. Get your predictions in for Brentford versus Luton. 7-0 Claxton. I'll mention it. This was 7-0 last season, wasn't it? Before Nathan Jones took back over. Brentford versus Luton. So we've got all sorts of mitigating factors in here because... Brentford, I don't know if we've got any Bees fans in. Brentford haven't played for a couple of games. Let's scroll down here. You will see, in fact, their last 3 have been postponed. We know Thomas Frank had COVID, didn't he? Forgive me if I've got that one wrong, and was self-isolating. So, on the one hand, the glass half full possible scenario is that Brentford's players have had a little bit of a mid-season break. On the other hand, if any of them got COVID, then A, they haven't trained properly as a squad, and B, some of them might be fatigued. So obviously it can work both ways, and every situation is going to be unique, not just per club, but per player, I think, as well. We heard about when Brian Mbeumo had it before, and it took him a while to come back from it, didn't it? So we'll see. All things stacked up, you would be favouring Brentford in this one. Let's just bring up the home and away tables there. Brentford 8th, only 1 defeat at home. That would have been at home to Preston, wouldn't it? In terms of Luton's away form, 14th, perked up by that away victory. And again, we do have to call out the mitigating factor of the red card. Helpful in that one. Luton 2 wins from 3. Let's just have a look at the recent form. And you will see before their little break, Brentford were on terrific form, weren't they? And if you take it over 10 games, I think it was 24 points in their last 10. So Brentford, the best team in the league if you do a 10-game form table. And some would argue without the red card for Pinnock against Watford, there might have been some chance for them to get a win on Watford soil, which has been, only Cardiff have done that this season. For Luton, it's a bit spotty, isn't it? Draw, win, loss, draw, loss, win, postponed, lost, won. And take out, should we take out the Bournemouth one because of the red card? I know you've still got to get the win, but if we're looking for patterns here, we normally say that Luton are A, good at home, and are B, good at punishing teams in a bad moment. Therefore, if Brentford's players are all knackered and getting over COVID, it could be a bad moment. But again, it's an away game. And Are they well rested? We don't know. I'm going to go for a home win. I'm really in predictable fashion today, aren't I? Let's see what you lot are saying in the comments. Now, for this person, do I need to put this person in the fake news sin bin here? Has he done Watford? Has he done Watford? Has he done Watford? If you look on the bottom there, J-Web, the running order is literally on the screen, and I will be doing Watford next. Let's just have a look at your predictions in this one. What do we got? Brentford. Brentford. 3-3. Why not? Brentford. Luton. There we go, Joe. Maybe he wants a Brentford defeat there, we think. Brentford 3-1. Home. Draw 0-0. Luton won the home fixture. I was there, Sean. That was pouring down with rain and they played a very low block. I remember it. Only 2 weeks. Check out my review of that. 2-1. Brentford. Luton. I don't know. The championship is a championship and COVID issues. Luton win 2-0. Want to go against the crowd. Also, Paul, what happened with Tony? Yeah. Let's give that one a wide berth. We don't like to see any type of abuse online or in person of any type. Brentford rusty is the hope, isn't it? Let's just see if we can get a few more up here. 0-0. Brentford 3-1, 1-1, 2-1. If anyone wants to know which games I have and haven't done, just check the running order literally on the screen as we speak. So I've gone for Brentford in that one. Right. This is the game I will be at, which is Watford versus Barnsley. Let me know your predictions. Watford versus Barnsley. I don't think it's been published yet. I've just done a write-up for Prost International on this, talking all about Barnsley, basically, and the fact that they're basically flat-track bullies, which is great if you're a Barnsley fan because they were nearly relegated last season. But 9 out of 10 victories against bottom half teams, 7 wins against the current bottom 7. But the one win they have got against the top half was, of course, against Watford. So we'll see how this one pans out. Watford versus Barnsley. Get your predictions in. And plug. Look out for my coverage of that one because I will be there. We'll stick some stuff up on Twitter from inside the ground. And there will be a match experience. And I have just witnessed video. Watford imperious, though, at home, aren't they? Look at that. Best in the league at home. 29 points from 12 games. That's sensational. Barnsley's away form 13th, but they do have the 4 victories. If we look at the recent form, you can see Barnsley, know how to win a game, don't they? But the last 4 defeats for Barnsley, all against top 3 teams, in fact. Bournemouth, Swansea twice, and Norwich. Barnsley will probably be pleased to get away from Oakwell because that pitch was just hopeless, wasn't it, in the Swansea game. For Watford, well, they lost at Swansea in that big top-of-the-table clash. They did beat Norwich under Munoz, and then we're back into the Ivic era. And I know form is form, but they've literally got a new regime since that game. So there's not a lot to judge them on. Again, though, if I contradict myself and go back, they're very, very good at home, aren't they? Let's go to your predictions first off. I'll scroll up. We'll see what you guys are saying. Barnsley, Watford, Barnsley. Well done, Joe. True to form. Watford, draw. Watford, draw. Watford, draw. Barnsley. We're all over the place, aren't we? Barnsley, Watford. Watford. I hope it's not a wet and cold, boring 0-0. Watford 1-0, 2-2, 2-1. Barnsley. A bit more detail from Russ there. Paritza in and drop Deeney. There we go. Don't take on Deeney is all I'll say if you're managing Watford. That never works out well. Barnsley, Watford, Millwall said to have bid for Mowat. So that's more successful than their bid for Mollenby, who ended up elsewhere. Watford. Where are we going? There's so much here. By the way, you only need to put your comments once in the chat, J Webb. Goodness me. Right. J Webb, I'm just going to pop you in the fake news sin bin. Just comment once. So J Webb has gone into the fake news sin bin. If you want to sponsor the fake news sin bin, of course, the first person to super chat will be chosen. I don't know. I feel like I've been blandly and boringly predictable in these predictions and back the favourite all the time. So I'm going to go for a draw. Let's go for some kind of scoring draw in this one, just purely on the basis of my other predictions and not this game in isolation. Right. Moving on. Reading versus Coventry, which you can get on Sky Sports. It's not their main game tonight, but if anyone, again, I'm not going to be around, is going to be watching that one, please do let me know. Reading stabilising after injuries and after losing streaks, and really the surprise story of the season, aren't they? Reading up there in 6th at the halfway point, and not just on the basis of the first 8 games. I know that in the first 8 games, they scored 7 wins and a draw, 22 of their 40 points, and they've only got 18 points in the remaining 15 games. But they're still churning out enough evidence to say that they can support that first 8 games and stay up there. Obviously, great news now that I think Maite is back. I'm sure some Reading fans will let us know in the comments. Coventry in 17th. 1 win in the last 5, but they did win last time out. Let's look at the recent form. Reading, as I said, so some evidence that, I mean, if you look and take that sample size we've got up there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, they've got 4 wins and a draw. So 13 points in the last 8. It's decent enough, isn't it, to keep them there or thereabouts. But if you do get a good sprinter, i.e. a Middlesbrough, a Stoke, a Blackburn, Bristol City, whoever is, sorry if I missed anyone out. I know people cry if I do that. But a good sprint from 2 points per game for 18 games from someone behind, that would be the risk for Reading. They need to have a nice pick-up. And this could be the game, couldn't it? Let's have a look at the, just mention the Coventry form. It is only 2 defeats in those last 8 games up there for Cov, at Preston and at Sheffield Wednesday. They've had a little bit of a purple patch. You wonder if there's a small, I'm not saying a collapse, but a small regression to the mean coming up. Now, Reading's home form, sketchy there. Defeats against Norwich, fair enough, but Birmingham, strange. But then wins over Forest and Luton. The Watford away form, the Coventry away form, equally patchy. 2 wins, 2 defeats, but that win against Millwall last time out. I'm going to plead the 5th, as ever, and look at your predictions. I'm scrolling. There we go. What have we got here? David, there you go. Benjamin Bloom, bingo. Do you need to mention my hair and my jumper? Anyway, right. 2-1 Reading, Coventry, 1-1. Draw. 3-2 Cov. 1-0 Reading, 1-0 Reading. Reading to have 1 shot on target and score. They are the masters of efficiency, Reading, aren't they? 2-1 Reading. 1-0 Cov. Home, 1-0 Cov. 2-1, 2-0 Reading, 2-0 Reading. 2-2. I've been sitting on the fence all day. I've only gone for 1 draw so far, Matthew. But as was pointed out last time, predicting a draw is not necessarily sitting on the fence. Reading too strong. Adam, everyone doubts us, Reading. So it's okay. Come on, you Reading fans. Don't take it personally, for goodness sake. It's not everybody doubts you. It's perfectly reasonable to doubt a team that's not been very good for 3 seasons, all of a sudden wins 7 out of 1. It's reasonable doubt. which is all. It's almost like they use beyond reasonable doubt in the law, don't they? So yeah, don't worry, don't you worry, child. Heaven has a place for you. Don't you worry, don't you? 3-1 Reading. It's 6-2 Reading. Go on, Samuel. 2-1. Mr. E, Reading's next 5 games are all against teams we've beaten this season, but I'll still go 2-1. Maite's still a little way off, apparently. Not quite, Ben. Moore and Maite back for the Bournemouth game. Jesus, one year. Of course, Coventry away form, poor. Callum says we gave them their first defeat of the season. Reckon we can beat their bogey side. You got it, Adam. Reading by how many goals it takes to move off below us. There we go. Right, what am I going to say? I'm going to go for Reading. Let's go for a home win in this one. Reading to do the business. All of those fans who just read the internet. Let's have a Michael Elise goal to wind all of those up as well, despite the fact no one have ever seen him play, but just go, we need Michael Elise. He gets mentioned a lot. Right. Home win. Reading to beat Coventry. There we go. Forest versus Middlesbrough. Ouch. Yeah, help me out on this one. Forest versus Middlesbrough. Forest are in fine form, aren't they? And Middlesbrough are not great away from home. You can see how these predictions work, don't you? I just say stuff to try and persuade myself either way. Forest, 12 points in the last 6 games. That is, well, it's top 2 form, isn't it? 2 points per game over 6 games. You got to love that if you're a Forest fan. And yeah, trending in the right direction. Obviously, they're too far back to do anything kind of meaningful in terms of top half or things of that nature. But I suspect Mr. Houghton will just want to get a roll going and have them organised and in good shape for next season with the squad a little bit sort of edited down, basically, and more his players that he wants to use rather than the big bloated mess that he frankly inherited. That may not be Lamucci's fault or Houghton's fault, but we know how Mr. Marianakis likes to do business. Borough are very good at home, not so good away from home. If you look, if Borough were to win their home game in hand, they'd be the second best in the league, fifth as it stands. Forest down there in 16th, but improving away from home. Borough 15th best in the league. Current form, fairly close, isn't it? 9 points in 5 for Borough, but 9 points in 5 for Forest as well. Forest do have 12 points in 6, which does make some kind of difference in my mind. Just push that form out a little bit. Who did Borough actually lose to? Well, they lost at home to Birmingham and away to Sheffield Wednesday. That's strange, isn't it? Wins over Wickham, Birmingham, the other end, Luton and Millwall. Have they had that harder run? Forest, we said, didn't we? Really hard run of games. You can see losing to Reading, losing to Norwich, losing to Brentford. All of those teams in the top 6. And then that is 6 unbeaten, 12 points from 6. And look, didn't lose to Stoke, who are high up in the table, but an easier run of form, let's just say. What are you guys saying in the chat? I haven't looked. I bet we're going to get some draws predicted in this one. Let's see what you guys are going with on this one. J-Web's back out of the fake news sin bin. Sensational stuff. He took it like a man. What are we saying? Ola, 2-0 Borough. Draw. Houghton versus Warnock, draw. I'm not going to read that one, MJ Cooper. Biased predictions against your team's rivals will not be read out. 3-1 Borough. There you go. I read Andy's as well. Although Andy talks loads of sense. Not that MJ Cooper doesn't. There you go. I'll read it out anyway. Love the peanut gallery voice. I like Michael Elise because the newspaper said so. No, I don't know who he is. Draw. Borough win. Forest win. We're all over the place here. I swear Sky Sports, they'll be getting a fee if Elise says so. They love it, don't they? They've got to report something, haven't they? Whilst nothing is happening. By the way, if you do want some good transfer coverage, we do transfer videos every time with deals that have actually been done and give our view on the channel. Draw 1-0 Forest. Let's bang through all of these. Borough to get back to winning ways. Forest still haven't beaten a good side at home. 0-0. Boom. All hail Sir Benjamin Bloom. There we go. Jeff says Forest 2-1. Warnock, the old Warnock-Houghton paradigm. Draw. Let's go for a draw. And both managers will shake hands on it at the end. Two wily old foxes there, Houghton and Warnock, the little scamp. Dear oh me. Right, where we go next, guys? Rotherham versus Stoke. Can Rotherham follow up a rare away victory with a rare home victory? Sorry, I'm not going to pop at Rotherham. They haven't won many games, but they're obviously very, very bad away from home. And they won away at Derby last time out, didn't they? Get your predictions in. Paul Vaughan and Rotherham off the back of a victory and 2 wins in 4. 6 points in the last 4 games will do you down at the bottom there, won't it? Against Stoke, who are flattening out a little bit, aren't they? I think it's only like 1 win in 8 or 9 for Stoke. And I always say this, like a broken record, if you are a team that's pragmatic and draw a lot of games, you're only a defeat or 2 away from it being a really bland, bad point-scoring run, aren't you? And we've seen that with some of the pragmatists in the division. You'd rather be spotty like a Barnsley and win 5 and lose 4 than have 7 draws and then a defeat comes along. So let's have a look at the recent form predictions. Get them in the comments. Let's do Stoke there first. Yeah, I was right. 1 win in 8. I was actually at that game where they beat Blackburn, scored after 5 minutes and sat in. We want to see, if you're a Stoke fan, you want to see the influence now of Matondo and Clark and Norrington Davis. I think 3 very decent loan signings there that should, in theory, improve the team. We've had Mikel come back. We've had Allen come back. Yes, it's light up top with Fletcher in and out and Campbell injured. But Stoke should be improving, not plateauing now at this point in the season. And my perennial 7th position prediction for Stoke. Well, where are they now? I think they're 8th, in fact. There is the Rotherham form. Defeat, home win against Bristol City. So how do they follow up a win? Defeat. How are they going to follow up this win? I wonder. And that's been the issue for Paul Vaughan and Rotherham, is that the good moments are fleeting and not often followed up. Therefore, ergo, I have convinced myself, despite the fact that they are plateauing somewhat, I've convinced myself that Stoke are going to win this game. I predicted them to win at Blackburn. What am I doing? Deary me. They let me down at the weekend. Are they going to let me down again? Away win. Stoke to beat Rotherham. What are you guys saying in the chat here? I think we are caught up here. There we go. Rotherham says Ola, draw. Stoke, draw. Stoke, Rotherham, Stoke, draw. There you go, David. Get a bet on that because you'll clean up if that comes in. Away, Stoke, Rotherham. Fairly mixed, aren't we? Draw. Stoke, draw. Rotherham. No one will see it coming. A couple of people have. Draw. 0-0 with no stops. Take it like a man. Yes, you did, Jay Webb. Well done. You, Rotherham. Kian's gutted that Swans has been postponed. Where else are we on? 0-0. Stoke. Stoke. So in the main, we're behind Stoke on that one for the video. Of course, we're not behind them. We're just predicting what's going to happen. Of course, our bias is firmly left at the door. Get me your predictions here. Oh, God, I can't call this one. Birmingham versus Preston, right? So let me tee this up as a very difficult game to predict. Well, Preston are Preston, and they're absolutely all over the place in terms of their form and our ability or inability to predict them. Remember, Preston at the start of the season would win all their away games, lose all their home games. That's kind of flipping around. Plus, they're in transition, aren't they, in terms of the actual playing staff? Brown signed the new contract. Pearson is basically saying, I'm off. I'm not going to sign a new contract. Molumby has come in. Evans has come in on loan. He'll probably just be a bench option. They signed someone else, didn't they, Preston? Whiteman, who started the last game. So they're basically now in transition, and it's going to be Alex Neil's next Preston team, assuming he stays on, that he's starting to build. And Birmingham just confused the hell out of me. Where did that away win at Borough come from? They're awful at home, Birmingham, and actually quite good. I think they got like 18 points away from home and 8 at home or something. Yeah, ridiculous like that. So they've got they've got over double the points away from home than they have at home. So it's just a very, very tricky one to call. This one, we know the two managers that Neil likes a kind of how would you frame it, an intense sort of get men in the box. It's not direct as such. Make the most of your dribbling opportunities and balls into the box, etc. Whereas Karanka likes a more stoic, steady, stiff team shape type event, if you can call it that. There's the recent form. And look, Birmingham's was absolutely horrible before that Borough game with 5 defeats in 6. And Preston, yeah, just as you can imagine, win, loss, loss, win, 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 loss, loss. Just very, very hard to call. So, as you can imagine, I'm going to plead the fifth and we'll go to the predictions and I'll just base it on what you guys are saying. Let's have a look. There we go. Right. Ola, you were first last time as well. 0-0, 2-1 Preston, 3-1 Preston. Draw away. We're all over the place, aren't we? Preston easily, says Andy. Birmingham with quality versus Borough. John, who knows his Birmingham, he's gone for a 1-0 there. 2-1 Preston. 0-0. David, he's a Birmingham fan. 3-2 Preston. Journeyman, who is very neutral, a Brighton fan. Joel says 2-2. 0-0 Kieran. Sorry if I butchered your name. 2-1 Mr. E. 2-0 Preston. 2-0 Birmingham. 0-0. No monsoon. Ian's on the ground in Rotherham or in Yorkshire or close by, certainly. 1-1, 4-1 Preston. It came because Brum are better away and Borough had hardly any training. 4-0. Draw. 3-2 Preston. 0-0. Narrow Preston. Draw. Wasn't too impressed with Nugo. Whiteman seemed to struggle stepping up from Doncaster. So the most boring thing in the world I can do here is go for a draw. So I won't do that. Logic says Birmingham was so bad at home and Preston have won away games that I should go for that. I haven't done that silly thing where I just go for the opposite of what I think. So let's go for a home win. Always have one where I throw it against the wall and hope it comes out right. Here we go. Huddersfield versus Millwall. Huddersfield very good at home. Millwall not very good anywhere and with very grumpy supporters at the moment. Maybe not unreasonably. I think Chris will help us out. 1 win in 15 for Mill at the moment. Let's bring the table up. Get me your predictions in. Huddersfield versus Millwall. Huddersfield not in good form of late. 3 defeats in 4. And I've peddled the narrative with Huddersfield that they're basically a bottom 6 or 8 team without that excellent home form. But what we do say about Huddersfield is compared to a lot of the teams down there, the pattern of play is quite desirable, seems to be developing. And if you were to line up the pattern of play against the resources, you would say Huddersfield are performing well, whereas you wouldn't say that at the moment about Millwall. Any Millwall fans know what's happening with Zohore as well? Because I'm hearing all sorts of stuff about Big Sam wanting to pull him back and whether Millwall are going to keep him or not. Let's look at the recent form. There's the table. Huddersfield 5 points above Millwall over that recent poor run for Mill. If you look, there's that home form. I think that's 4 wins and a draw. I think it was a 5-game winning streak going into the game against Reading. They didn't reckon on Lucas João, who was the difference in that game. Millwall's away form, well, they picked up 4 in the last 3, and there was that morale-boosting draw at Bournemouth, and then a defeat at Chris Hughton's Forest. But dare I say, and this may parlay into your thinking on this game, dare I say, a Huddersfield and a Bournemouth is almost a better opponent for Gary Rowett than a Chris Hughton, who's going to be a bit more standoffish and pragmatic in his approach. I'm going to plead the 5th. Let's go to your comments. I pressed the wrong button. Let's go to your comments. And let's have a look. I just subscribed on my phone and all my family and my... Thank you, Jay Webb. Oliver is not confident. He's predicting defeat for Millwall. 1-1 says Ola. You went first this time, Ola. 2-1 Huddersfield says Owen. 1-1. My predictions have no bearing on any results, and I stand by that. 3-0 Huddersfield says Carl. Huddersfield to win. Route to pick up the P45. Huddersfield, Millwall, rotten. Love your running order idea. Iain, I did it to stop people asking who comes next. And then we had a million comments asking who comes next. Millwall 3-1. 2-1 Huddersfield. 2-1 Huddersfield. 3-all. That sounds fun. 3-1 Huddersfield. 2-0 Huddersfield. Millwall are pure turd. Shakespearean turn of phrase from Dom there. 3-0 Huddersfield. 1-1. 1-0 Terriers. 2-1. What else have we got here? Let's just bang through. Boom, boom, boom. What do I use to steam? To steam? One of those things where you like have the saucepan and then you have like the colander thing on the top. I don't even know what you'd call that. What do I use to stream? StreamYard. New game. Take a shot every time Ola is first to predict. Can anyone get there ahead? Right. I'm going to do something naughty, which YouTubers get accused of a lot. I'm going to do what's best for the channel, which is actually Millwall losing. Because it'll wind up all our Millwall friends. No offence, we love you all. But it'll be an interesting story developing if Millwall do lose. Let's go for a Huddersfield win. And sorry for my tremendous S-housery there. One more, because there's a postponement in the Sheffield Wednesday game. Cardiff versus QPR. Interesting. Are we... get your predictions in. See if you can beat Ola. Cardiff versus QPR. Are we judging QPR as having turned over a new leaf? Charlie Austin arriving. Change of system. Bright Samuel, who, yes, I know he's on his way out. Playing at left wing back in a 3 at the back sort of system, and a win against Luton. And look at Cardiff, 4 straight defeats. Who's under more pressure there? Ex-Millwall legend Neil Harris or current Millwall manager Gary Rowett. Cardiff losing at home to Norwich. There's no shame in that at the moment. And QPR, look at one defeat in 5. 6 points from 5 isn't as desirable. 1 defeat in 5 is a stat that you would want to peddle. Let's just check the home form in respects of Cardiff. 17th in the home form. That's pretty poor for a team that I think was pretty dominant at home last season, weren't they? The away form in respects of Rangers, not good either. 18th, only 2 away wins this season. The current form says that Cardiff are not very good. Let's drill down into that and see who they've actually lost to. Well, no shame in losing twice to Norwich and Brentford, so big mitigating factor there. They did lose to Wycombe, who are bottom of the table. For QPR, that recent run is 2 defeats in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only the one victory, and that only came when Austin arrived. Not many goals going around, so you can see maybe they needed a striker. It's not just Austin arriving, it's what he might do for Lyndon Dykes, who's been a little bit of a bust as a signing so far. Who have they played recently? Well, Luton, Norwich, Swansea, Wycombe, Stoke. Reading played some hard games, haven't they? If you say Reading, Stoke, Swansea, Norwich, all up in the top 8, aren't they? What do you guys think in the chat? Cardiff versus QPR. Are QPR too flaky to go to Cardiff and get anything? What are you guys saying in the chat? There we go. 2-1 Rangers. 2-1 Rangers. 2-0 Rangers. Wow. Not confident on Cardiff here. Simon, 5 points from last 3 away games. I fancy us to make it 4 draws in 6, take a point. Although Hart says we can nick it. Never go with the heart over the head, Simon. God, that's a Chris de Burgh song. And in this classical dilemma, I find for the heart. Guilty pleasure if ever there was one. Feels like all is not well in the Cardiff camp. Sorry, I'll stop singing. 2-0 Cardiff, says James. QPR forever, who we trust on these matters. Willock to get a chance. Don't see Samuel in a Rangers shirt. Again, I wonder whether they'll do some kind of loan deal now. The statement was very telling on Bright Samuel. He goes at the end of the season unless something can be arranged. I mean, yeah. Cardiff, draw. Rangers to make the playoffs, says Bits. He's on the Austin bus there. Perry and G signed for Cardiff. There will be, we're expecting a few deals to go through. Hurahan and G, the Norwich Greek fella. Will Wednesday take Bruce back after we get in a heartbeat? I'd imagine. Yeah, Steve Bruce at Championship level, you'd take, wouldn't you? Right, Cardiff. Bikes for Len, which means likes for Ben. Hit the like button. Ow. Cardiff draw. Cardiff, draw. Oh, sorry, Rangers. Cardiff, Rangers. Chris de Burgh equals vomit. Yeah. 0-0. Can West Brom stay up? We'll do that in the Jacob. We'll do that in the Dearly Departed. What did I even go for? Goodness me, I just like carnage and S-housery. So being a massive S-house myself, let's pour the pressure on Neil Harris and go for an away win. And Austin, maybe to make the difference. Let's just talk really quickly about Sheffield Wednesday and Wycombe because it's been postponed. But let's see what that means in respects of both clubs. Would have been a good matchup, this, wouldn't it? Big game. Not happening. So both teams on 23 games, so neither too far behind. You can see Rotherham have only played 21. Anyone as few? Brentford on 22. Was a good chance for Wednesday. Could have put a nice big gap in there of 8 points over Wycombe and shuffle up a little bit every day. I'm shuffling. But it's not going ahead, and it's another one. Got to go into the old fixture computer. Right. That is our show. Now, if you want to support the channel and go and subscribe on Patreon, I'll now reiterate all of that. The only place where you can find the predictions in short form is over on Patreon. And if you really want to support what I'm doing, that will be a great help. Again, hit the like before you leave, subscribe, etc., etc. Super chat, you can still do that. No super chats in the stream, so no King of the Bin. Teesprings as well for merchandise. Big plug tonight. I will not be streaming. I will be at Watford versus Barnsley. So check out, follow me on Twitter, and I'll be doing bits and bobs on that. There will be a match experience, and I'll be in the press conference, and I'll try and ask a question for both managers as well. So if you want to see a little bit behind the scenes, check that video out. And of course, I will try my best in the gap between the managers coming off the pitch and getting into the press conference. I will try my best to do an I Have Just Witnessed video and get that one uploaded. With all that being said, thank you very much for joining me. We'll be back at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll do a mini review of tonight's games, which is about 5, is there? So the 5 tonight will be Derby, Bournemouth, Reading, Cov, Rotherham, Stoke, Watford, Barnsley. So we'll do a mini review of those. And then, of course, we'll be back on Thursday with a mini review. And then we'll be back with the preview on Friday. So basically, we'll be live at 1 p.m. every day with Championship stuff. So do check that out. Let's say some fond farewells here to Nat and Joel. Ben Foster will be in the stands. I'll try and grab a word if I can. You can imagine it's pretty tight at the moment. Thanks, James. Iain wants a good result. Probably won't be watching a review show. World's biggest soccer when we get beat. Lovely. Top chippy number 1. Prediction for Norwich. Hit that rewind button. Take a look. Can see a few more postponements. Yes, hopefully not Watford. But you know what these Premier League teams have got in terms of ground drainage and all of that good stuff. Thank you, Ola. Thank you, Mr. E. Thank you, Hip. All these guys. Who do I think get the Wednesday job? No idea, but it'll be after the window's closed. No doubt. Take care, of course. I will. I will be masked up, and in the press box, you sit in one seat, and then there's 2 not used, and then 1 seat. I won't be going near anybody basically all night. So. By Benjamin. And we wish Dan on Lions TV well. We don't want to see poor Dan exploding with rage. Garrett, I thought I calmed him down on that stream, but evidently not after the Forest result. Right, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks again to the Donovan brothers who sponsored this show in love and memory of Michael of South East London, lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. And check out Prost International for my match preview for Watford Barnsley. All of the stuff coming tonight and tomorrow morning. And join me at 1 p.m. We've got to try and fit in the Dearly Departed preview at some point as well before tonight. With all of that being said, all that remains for me to do is pull out my earphones and say over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch the